What's up, guys? Hey, welcome to episode 11 of Project Renaissance Man. And I have some terrible news. I actually just got fired from my side hustle, Jersey Mike's. I know you're probably thinking, what's wrong with this guy? He just lost, a portion of his income, um, stuff like that. He was just talking to us, a couple weeks ago about how he was basically eating beans and fruit to get by. What's wrong with him? Um, well, I'll tell you why I think this is funny and why it doesn't bother me. Um, because this is going to tie into tonight's topic, which is what I like to entitle Proudly Invalidated. Um, Proudly Invalidated has everything to do with um, accepting ourselves despite the fact that we are not dependent upon the validation from others. So it's accepting that. And that's why I feel really good right now. Because, yes, I lost the job. But here, let me tell you the story real quick. I'll be brief. So they have this system called Hot Schedules, and you go online. It's an online system, and you can check your schedules on there, and that's like how you communicate with your coworkers and pick up shifts and all this other crazy stuff. So it's pretty sweet. It's very impersonal, but it's very convenient as well. It makes things smooth. So I ended up going on there to check my schedule, and the day before the day that I was to come in to work my next shift, I noticed that all my shifts were gone. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So, a part of me is a little irritated because I'm like, if you have a problem with me or something, you can address that instead of just letting me go. And if you're going to let me go, don't be sneaky about it. At least have the decency to give me a call. And so I checked my email later on, and I realized that I did get an email, and she told me that the manager there had told me that she had tried to get a hold of me via phone call, which I know is total bullshit because I didn't have any missed calls at all from Jersey Mike's. And so I just was like, whatever. I wrote it off. It's not my loss. So basically, the whole idea and how this connects to my subject of being proudly invalidated is that their real reasoning, they had like 3 or 4 different excuses. Like one wasn't good enough, but they had like I said, 3 or 4 different excuses as to why they were going to let me go. And there was nothing that could be said about my performance or my punctuality or anything like that. I was solid, man. But I know exactly why they got rid of me. I could sense it. I could sense it in the energies when I'd walk into the place. Even the way I greeted them, I'd always be a good sport and be honest and genuine and be upstanding. But there were times when they'd almost like snub me. And after a while, it's like, well, why am I even saying hi to these people or even care about, being a good sport at all? Because they're very non-receptive to me. But I just chalked it up. I'm like, whatever. It's not going to shape who I am as a person. And, I was who I was. So the whole thing here is I may have lost the job, but I didn't lose my authenticity, which is something I talk to you guys about all the time. And, I held on to that. And there were a couple times when I did butt heads with them. Nothing that I felt should have resulted in a firing, but, they didn't like the fact that I didn't click with them. And that's exactly what this is about. I did not feel like their validation was necessary at all. I don't give a shit where I am. It could be an employer, it could be a teacher, it could be any kind of authority figure. I don't need your validation to feel complete, and neither should you feel that way with regard to anybody. There's not a person in this world that you should feel incomplete if they're not in your life. So, but yeah, that's what happened, and so I'm going to get a little deep here. I have a theory on this because what happens is there's a conflict between our sense of belonging and our feeling of needing validation from others. And it gets really muddled if you think about it. And I think that the theory behind this is that we're big time fearful of death. It's always on our minds at some point, in some way, shape, or form. It's in our minds. Even if it's not at the front of our minds, it's somewhere in our heads, constantly, entertaining our minds, in some part of it. And so, because we're so afraid to die, and we do that alone, we cling to things. And I think this kind of can maybe explain, if a little more research is done on, this is all just crazy theory right now from myself. It's a personal theory. But you see people hoarding things, before they die. Like they're just trying to cling to something that has to do with this earth, that's earthly, because they don't want to leave to wherever they're going. They don't know what's on the other side. And so I feel that that's what we do as people, and that's why we feel like we want a sense of belonging, because we die alone. So we want to connect with other people. But the weird thing is, oftentimes what we're doing is we're sacrificing our authenticity to, fit in with a group. And it's not a genuine, legitimate connection. And these people that what's so ironic about this, here's some irony, is these people, because there's a lot of artificiality and superficiality among the people when we connect in this way, we're really not any less lonely. Because we're surrounded by people that really don't care about us the way we feel we need people to care about us. So now, with that being said, do realize, and I'm sure a lot of you do know this, that there are people out there that are genuine and legit. I've met plenty of them, and I'm as lone wolf as it gets. There are a lot of times where I am like, an outcast, and I just don't fit in at all. I just really don't. And I'm okay with it. I've come to terms with that. But yeah, you're going to, if you're anything like me, you're going to run into that a lot. But my point is, because I'm a lone wolf to the highest degree, I've connected with people still. And I was able to be myself and be accepted for who I am. And I didn't need to put on a front or anything to be accepted. So just know that. I want you guys to be hopeful. I don't want you to think that what I'm saying is totally, doomful or dreadful or anything like that, or doom and gloom, because it's not anything like that. There are really genuine, real people out there. And that brings me to a couple pointers then. But where do I want to go from here? Yeah, for the most part, I say fuck validation. There's only one exception, really. I'd say reserve it for those who do right by you, who admire you, and who love you. As for the others, like my mom would say, are they putting food on your table? Are they paying your bills? If they're not doing any of those things, they really don't have that significant of a role in your life for you to give a shit about what they think about you or how they think you should behave. So just keep that in mind. So before I wrap this up, I'm going to share a couple pointers with you guys on how to help you become more comfortable into this transition of not caring about other validation from other people. So the very first pointer I have is gradual defiance. So this is great. This is a great exercise. I'm not saying go out and start confronting everybody that's ever pissed you off. Like it says, gradual. So start small. If there's a supervisor that you feel has been unfair to you with regard to a wage, or overworking you, get out there and stand up to this guy or girl. Let them know that you're not cool with that. If there's a coworker that's just aggravating you, stand up to that person. But like I said, go gradual, and you're going to become more comfortable with it the more you do it. It's like anything else. The more you do it, the more comfortable you become, the easier it is for you to do it. So that's one of my pointers. My next pointer is recognize and acknowledge the number of people in the world and the different types of people in the world. It's crazy how large the global population is. So the reason I'm saying this is because you don't need to break a sweat over that one person, that you're feeling like you need to be validated from. Fuck that person. There's so many people out in the world that you can interact with. Just get out there and explore, you know. And then my third pointer, and probably my favorite, is recognize and accept that depending on the validation of others to build your identity makes you something that you really aren't. So it totally strips you of your authenticity. And that's why it's so important to not depend on the validation from others to form who you are as a person. You need to form yourself. And also, if you allow their validation to determine your actions, then you're basically, becoming a slave. You're, just doing things based on what other people are expecting you to do. And you're not doing things based on what you feel is right or what you feel it needs to be done. So that's all I got for you guys, and I hope it really benefits y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, 4th subscriber. Please keep subscribing, guys. I really appreciate it. It means everything to me. Every time you guys even comment or subscribe, anything like that, a like, the smallest things, man. I just love that receptivity. So keep it coming. If you enjoyed the video and feel it has benefited you, please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, give me a like, and I will see you all on Saturday. Peace.